Hey there, Storm fans. Bryant Cook on this lovely Labor Day. And we're playing Black-White Soul Sisters with a twist. This deck plays Bolas' Citadel to help abuse some of that additional life gain. And then we have Goblin Bombardment to deal our opponent lethal. We are building our own copy of Tendrils of Agony using Empty the Warrens. It's pretty wild. This deck looks like a blast. I'm honestly really excited to play this today. But you might notice there's only 12 lands. How are we supposed to cast this 6-mana spell with only 12 lands? Well, we have Lotus Bloom, which accelerates into a turn 4 Citadel perfectly because it provides the triple black. We have Mox Tantalite as a 2-of, because it's a little bit less powerful than a Lotus Bloom, let's be honest. But, it does give us that extra black mana. Then we have Soul Talisman, which is almost as good as Lotus Bloom. It sticks around, but, you don't get the color filtering, that sort of thing. Well, that can't be it, right? Well, we do have these multimodal face cards. The Skyclave Cleric, which, comes into play tapped as a plains, obviously. But then on the front half, on your combo turn, you get to cast it essentially for free off of Citadel because it replaces itself. But then you get all the life gain triggers from Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant, and Auriok Champion, which is mostly how this deck works. Is you just want to keep on casting creatures off of Citadel, gain a bunch of life, and then heal your opponent lethal with emptying Goblin Bombardment. And a part of this is you have Wishclaw Talisman as a tutor to help make sure you find Bolas' Citadel. It's also a shuffle effect for Citadel in case you do get stuck with a land on top. That Wishclaw Talisman also finds the Goblin Bombardment to make it even easier to win. Profane Tutor is similar, except you don't get the shuffle equity out of it, but it is a free tutor off of Citadel, which is just nice. And then we have our two big flip lands. Emeria's Call, it does make 2/4/4 Angels, which is just like really powerful. But it does come at the cost of 7 life, and you're only going to ever gain like 2 of it back, assuming that you only have 1 of these in play. So it's not exactly free. And then you have Consumption, which is very similar, where its cost is more than the life that you'll gain, but it does clear the top of your deck for Bolas' Citadel. This deck is the brainchild of Andre, who has continued to support this channel over the last, month or so. A donation deck every single week. Thank you, Andre, for your continued support. And I think that this might be one of your best decks yet, if I'm being completely honest. This deck seems sound to me. And you might be looking at this deck thinking like this deck, looks really janky. I think you're wrong. This deck looks like it has a coherent plan, and it looks pretty powerful. So I'm excited to play this today. And it's really good in the aggressive format that we're in. The backup plan here is the Soul Sisters gain a bunch of life until you can do your thing, which is just fine by me. And even if you don't get to do the Bolas' Citadel thing, you can set up your suspense just for a lethal empty. Like, you don't have to Citadel every game. Empty can just be fine too. So I'm pretty excited about this deck. I think it's going to be a blast today. I'm going to call a 4-1 right now. I haven't played the league yet. I'm going to call a 4-1. That's what I'm going for. Then when we go to the board, we have Fatal Push. It's just a generic catch-all removal spell. Then we have 7 protection spells between Thoughtseizes and Defense Grid. I am a little bit worried about Thoughtseize. It could be Inquisition of Kozilek. That said, Thoughtseize hits Force of Vigor, which is pretty good against us, and, other key cards. My concern is the life loss in our Bolas' Citadel deck, but we are a gain life deck too, so it's probably fine. And then Defense Grid is just a powerful card. Leyline of Sanctity is for the discard decks. Excuse me. Vindicate. I'm not sure if this is better than the 2 new black-white cards that have come out. There's Fracture, and I believe the other one is Erase, where it could probably be those cards, but Vindicate is just a generic catch-all for everything, so maybe it's fine. I don't have strong opinions on it, but we're going to play Andre's exact 75 and just see how it goes. And if you want to be a real Storm champion like Andre, whoops, wrong one, clicked it wrong, theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's where you go. You can submit your deck to be featured here on this very channel. And in our Epic tier, you can even join me. So why wouldn't you want to do that? It's just a no-brainer. But if you are looking to support us in another way, there's always theepicstorm.com/shop, where you can pick up sweet, sweet card singles, but also a ton of Storm swag. T-shirts, pint glasses, tokens, playmats, pens, whatever. We've got it. Definitely check it out. And speaking of token packs, we have our brand new mini token pack. keep track of your mana and storm count so easily. For $13, you get 64 mini tokens. That's 10 black, 10 blue, 10 red, 5 green, 5 white, 3 colorless. But we're going to help you count all the way up to 20 for that lethal copy of Grape Shot, or in this deck, Empty the Warrens paired with Goblin Bombardment. Those 20 goblins are going to fling for 20. We'll help you all the way there. So make sure to, grab one of these. But we're not playing it in this deck. There is a Galvanic Relay Exile Indicator token, which is pretty sweet. 4 copies of the Treasure token for Strike It Rich, and 10 monks for our vintage friends that like Monastery Mentor. And then we have a Progenitor Ooze Slime Time tokens with the power of toughness already built in. What more could you want except for 20 goblin tokens? We're using them in this deck. Empty the Warrens is here. Sadly, there's no Chatterstorm, but you can still battle squirrels versus goblins with our mini token pack. Make sure to check that out. And I am ready to begin this league. I'm calling the 4-1. I think we're gonna get it. I think so. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I'll get a little bit of egg on my face, but I'll see you in match number 1. Don't go anywhere. Match number 1 with Bolas Sisters, and we are on the play. This deck is so sweet. Yup, definitely keeping this. This hand is terrific. Let's empty. I love it. I love it. We will want to draw a land for our second turn to suspend this Profane Tutor, but even if we don't hit the land, this hand is still nuts. So we're definitely keeping. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and shock here. Go get our Godless Shrine so that way we have a little bit of color fixing. Suspend the Soul Talisman. Suspend. Suspend. So if we draw the land on curve, we can hardcast Citadel on turn 4, and then we already have Soul's Attendant empty as a backup. But if we miss the second land, we still just have an empty for at least 8, 10 on turn 4. So I'm going to auto-yield to these abilities, auto-yield to this. Oh, land. Boom! Alright, suspend this Profane Tutor. We're going to go nuts this game. Alright. Dragon Rage Channeler, do your worst. I shouldn't say that. Like, what will happen is I'll put Citadel in the stack and they'll just, like, force a negation it. I should keep my mouth shut. But we're going to play for our opponent not having anything ever. That's what we're doing here. Alright, Thought Scour. Pretty good for hitting Delirium. And look at that. The 3-3 already. Get in there. Yep. So next turn, these will all unsuspend. Draw. And I'm just going to pass. I bet our opponents are just like wondering what is going on here. That's a lightning bolt. Okay, and they milled a Murktide. I mean, it might be correct to not put it out anyway, but we could get raced if we don't. Alright, so it looks like they're going to tap out here. This Bobble. Okay. I don't believe that these decks play Force of Negation main. Okay. We're going to 8 life here. So auto yield to their Bobble triggers. So they're going to draw 2 cards. We're going to cast all of these spells in order and then see what happens. We have 8 mana here, 11 mana. So now we cast Lotus Bloom. 11 is actually perfect because Citadel is 6, empty is 4 to bring us to 10, and Soul's Attendant costs 1. So we actually have the perfect amount of mana. Okay. Would love to cast the Soul Talisman. Thank you. And the Tutor. So let's go get Citadel. Now we get a draw step, which is wild. How about that? All right. Not really looking to use that one quite yet. Um, so let's tap this, and then black, and Citadel. Does this resolve? Help here. That's a spicy main deck card. So we have an interesting decision here. Because I can just take the guaranteed, like, so 7, 16 goblins while gaining 16 life, or I can pay for this. And I feel like paying for this is just so greedy, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let it get countered. And Soul's Attendant into empty. Then next turn, we're a mana away from hard casting this consumption. Turn always yes. Always yes. All right, it looks like it's working now. Woot woot! I love it. Look at that, 24 life. Eat your heart out, red deck. Oh, this deck is so sweet. I love it. This is so awesome. All right. Yeah, nice unholy heat. Okay. You thought that Spell Pierce was good enough to stop me? All right, so those were not untapped lands. I'm actually okay with that. We're just looking for an untapped land to jam this consumption. We don't have that many in the deck, to be honest, so it's kind of unlikely, but we'll see. We only have 12 lands. One of them is that comes into play tapped land. And then we have our, our multimodal face cards, whatever. So it's not incredibly likely that we hit here, but it'd be sweet if we did. Okay, just an Auriok champ. Well, let's play it line. Okay. Now we get in there. Ugh. All right, now they're at 1. They cannot use fetch lands. Boom. Boom. In the intro, I said you didn't need to always cast Citadel. Perfect example right there. So we could board in Defense Grid. I don't know how I feel about that. They probably have some interaction that we're looking to dodge. I don't know what we'd even take out, though. A little bit worried about that. So we have 12 lands here. I should count how many like of these modal cards, because maybe I could take a few of these out. That brings us up to 24, not counting any of this stuff. So maybe I can shave on like 1 consumption, 1 call, and go down to 22, especially on the draw. And then maybe we take out like a single Wishclaw Talisman. Let's try this. All right. This hand is not nearly as good as our last hand. There's just no chance I would keep this. Even if this defense grid was the white land, I would chip this. All right, mulligan. This hand is decent. Keep. I think we want to put this land. Actually, I want to put back the second profane. All right, so we are looking to draw an untapped land on turn 2. So these tap lands are a little awkward here because we want to pay for Soul Talisman on 1 and then on turn 2 suspend. So these tap lands are a little bit awkward. So a land would actually be terrific. Island go. I'm wondering if I should like play this game a little bit slower and like don't suspend these until turn 2. But no, because then the Profane Tutor doesn't suspend on time either. And then I would be suspending Profane on turn 3. Maybe that's fine. I'm just going to play out this. And the reason I'm choosing to play the white land is that we drew Auriok Champion. I was originally planning on keeping this in hand to play as a blocker for something like Ragavan, but this just makes more sense to me. Okay. It's the Bobble trigger. Okay. Ox Tantalite, so that's a decent draw. So we're going to suspend this. Suspend. Suspend. And then pass the turn. Next turn we're going to suspend Profane Tutor. Another Thought Scour, okay. They have sort of a slow opening, which was good for us. Obviously, they could just like dump a giant Murktide into play, but their start could have been faster. And here's Murktide. Yep. That is a clock. Yikes. Okay. I wonder if I am supposed to play the Auriok Champion now instead of the Profane Tutor. Tough. I think I might need to suspend the Tutor if I'm going to try to win this game. Yeah. Not in a great spot right now. The Murktide just like increases the clock so quickly. An untapped white source off the top would be really nice, so that way we can go champion and a Soul's Attendant. Alright. So they have 8 coming in. We're gonna go to 11. Wishclaw, okay. So we did see that they have engineered explosives. Something they could do is play the Wishclaw and then activate it, go get EE, and then in our upkeep, all of these would resolve, and they would get a chance to blow them up with EE before we could ever use the mana. Draw. So let's see if the champion resolves before I shock. Honestly, I might not even want to shock. We're just dead. So they swing for 8, they Wishclaw for Bolt. Or they already have Bolt. Okay. Let's go to game 3. I don't think I want to change anything. I will say that Soul Talisman was a big like rough thing in that game that we couldn't suspend on curve. Like that was definitely awkward. This seems fine. We're gonna keep this. Okay, so suspend Soul Talisman. Suspend Lotus Bloom. Pass. Next turn we're probably just going to play Cleric into Soul's Attendant. Or I'm sorry, the land half of Cleric, that is. Or I guess maybe we could suspend the Talisman as well. Alright, well, we're gonna play the blocker. Make them bolt. And I will trade my Attendant for Ragavan if they don't have the removal spell. Okay, so no removal spell there. And I'm going to use this opportunity to play Defense Grid next turn. Because we saw Counterspell, they could have Force of Negation. I think they're getting in there. I will gladly block. Okay. Draw. Another Mox. I wonder, or another Talisman. I wonder if I should suspend these. We have 5 coming off. Yeah. I think I'm supposed to suspend. A lot of mana. And these are actually coming off suspend. Draw. Okay. I guess I can just play grid here. I think I'm supposed to pass. Like, I could sacrifice my Lotus Bloom to suspend and play Claw. But then I'm not going to have black mana for the turn that this would matter. Maybe it's just the right thing to do. I'm not sure. Now we suspend. And we did that in this order because we did see Spell Pierce out of the opponent. But it's a little bit awkward that we don't have any black or red mana. We don't have an untapped red in the deck either, which is just like a big concern here because like when this resolves, I can't just like go get empty because I mean maybe I'll draw a fetch land, but right now it's like a fetch land can't get an untapped red for the empty the Warren. That's a really big Murktide. Yikes. Okay. Draw. I think I'm supposed to just cast that. We don't really need another plane. Yes. But we're definitely a little bit color screwed at the moment. At least if this deck had an untapped red source, we could theoretically empty. Okay. So they're going to blow up all of our Soul Talismans next turn. That's a bummer. Yep. So they're going to 3-for-1 our spells that we had to wait for them to unsuspend. Yikes. Yep. Don't think we're getting this one. Even after that sweet game number 1. That said, I don't think we were winning even if they didn't do that. Yeah, just the Triome as a red is really awkward here. I'd like to see, like, I don't know. Maybe not Blood Crypt, but Sacred Foundry, maybe. It just doesn't matter what I do here. We're done. I guess I could lean super hard into the Soul Sisters plan. Just hope to draw running creatures. Yeah, this just isn't going to work. Murktide is just such a huge block. Okay, what is this? E for 2. And that's the game. Wow, we got bodied. All right, so I said 4-1. That means that we need to win the next 4. It's possible. We saw the potential in game number 1, right? Let's see where we go. Okay, on the play for match number 2. This seems slow but reasonable. I think after playing that first match, a change I would like to see is the numbers on Mox Tanalite and Soul Talisman switch. So ideally with this deck, you always want to be playing a tap land on turn 1. And Soul Talisman makes you want to have untapped lands on turn 1, and it caused a friction in both post-board games that we didn't experience in game number 1. So I think that the numbers on those should definitely switch if you were to play this deck again. I wonder what we're supposed to do here. I think it's suspend tutor. Towers meet. I would have liked those lands, jerk. Oh, they're on mill. Okay, this is going to be a weird match. I don't know how our deck does against mill. They do have 4 main deck copies of Drowned in the lock. And I didn't keep a combo hand. I kept a hand that was meant for a mid-range matchup. And our opponent has a surgical in hand. That's why they're tanking right now. I don't see us winning game number 1. They're choosing to just pass. Okay, Profane Tutor. Draw. Alright, so we're gonna suspend Bloom, suspend Talisman, and pass. So thinking about boarding for the second game, I'm definitely interested in Leyline of Sanctity as well as Thoughtseize. Like both of those cards definitely seem like no-brainers. The question is, what do we take out of our deck to include these 8 cards? I think we have a basic in our deck. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. Well, I was right on them having a surgical. One is playing very slowly. Ah, they've already milled the plains. So if they feel the ruin us, I think it's just strip mine. I guess wasteland. Okay, they chose not to use suspend. Suspend. So we're now going to cast Profane Tutor. Go get a Citadel. This is going to... Oh, we don't even have a fetchable. Jeez. No justice. Play this as a land. Oh, I've already played a land because I'm a dummy. I'm a real dummy. I think I play the champion. Not playing this game super well. So they know that I don't have any fetchables, so this Field of Ruin is just free. Yep. Another archive trap. No, no trap. Okay. I wonder if they surgical the angel because they have Tasha's in another wasteland. Now they're holding open Drown in the Loch. So we're gonna attempt to cast Citadel here and just have it get drowned. I guess that's on the next turn. But yeah, we are gonna get wrecked by Drown in the Loch. I suppose we could empty instead, but I think that they're going to be able to race and empty. And by race, I mean deck me before I can kill them with it. There's the Fractured Sandy. Yeah, they're just holding open Drown in the Loch. So I think we're supposed to just empty here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll counter the Wish Claw. Please counter. So I have a 2-turn clock. They're definitely going to deck me. So yeah, there's just not a whole lot I can do about this. I think one thing we can maybe do is take out some of the Soul Sisters against them because like the gaining life aspect isn't as relevant because Mill doesn't have a clock. We get in for 1, putting them to 14. Ugh. Okay, so they have to mill 15 cards. So Fatal Push. So now they're down to 4 cards. I mean, it's theoretically possible. Alright, so Tasha's milled 10 of them, so now they just have to mill 5. Pretty easy ask. Oh no. Now they get to Impulse looking for a card that they can cast for free next turn off of Shelldock Isle. Not looking good for us. Sort of weird that our opponent never drew any crabs this game. I guess we can cast Talisman here. You going to drown it? I think we're just dead. Yeah, we're a turn too slow. I mean, milling 4 should be easy for them. It's a cycle on Fractured Sanity. They got to look at an extra 4 cards on Shelldock Isle. There's no way we win that. Grab plus fetch land. I could do it. Are you just toying with me and you're going to deck me in my upkeep with Shelldock? No? What? Am I being messed with here? I don't think it's very funny if you're toying with me, opponent. What is this? Crypt Incursion? Okay. That was a lot of life they just gained. Yikes. So that just bought them a lot of turns. We're mathematically dead, right? Like, it doesn't even matter because I can't deal them lethal. I guess I could draw a creature. Because 8 times 3 is 24 and they're at 25. Draw. Thanks. And I can't Wish Claw because then it reduces our clock by a turn. Yeah, darn Crypt Incursion. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll fetch for me. The Fatal Push on the Goblin token might actually have been the difference in this game. Okay, so I guess if our last card is also the Consumption, we could hardcast Consumption. Another Wish Claw, okay. Actually, hold on. Nope, the last empty's there. It's not Consumption. I don't know. Like, we'll draw it, but we've lost the game at this point. Our opponent would have to fetch for no reason and then not have it. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna come up short here. We needed the Soul Warden to be one of the top 2 cards, and it just wasn't. Oh no. I think I might have punted this game. So if I had suspended the Mox Tantalite, I could have hardcast Citadel, and then activated Citadel for lethal. Assuming they didn't have a counter in hand. Wow, how did I not see that? Um, I'd have to go back and see if I drew this because it would have taken 4 turns. But I think I had the 4 turns. I think I just drew this game. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I could have suspended Mox Tantalite for the 3rd black. That could have been the hypothetical lethal. Okay. Alright, so let's bring in the ley lines and the Thoughtseize. I think we can honestly just board out all this stuff. Like, I just don't think that we need them in this matchup. We still have the Aurak champions. It'll be fine. Yeah, I wonder if I was the cause of that game. But it's also possible that the opponent just, like, never played anything else because they didn't need to. They mathematically already won. And they could have been holding a Drown in the Lock that we never saw. So it's not a guaranteed thing that I would have won, but we would have had a chance to win instead of just losing. So I definitely should have suspended the Tantalite. Okay. Game 2 on the play. This is sort of an awkward hand. I think I'm actually going to ship this. This is decent. I think we get rid of the profane. Leyline. Okay. I mean, it's going to be kind of difficult for us to win this, but Leyline's pretty effective against them. It stops Archive Trap. It doesn't stop Tasha's, because I think Tasha's has opponents. Draw. Yikes. Didn't need a second empty, that's for sure. So I think our best draw next turn would be an untapped land, because then we could empty for 2. I mean, it's not the best, but it is a clock. So I guess we had 2 turns to hit the land, but we didn't draw it this turn. Let's see. They're going to fetch in response. Okay. Sure. Let's see what they have. The crab isn't very good. I think they just take the drown. We still need to hit a land. Come on, deck. Give me a land. Untapped land. Please? Boo! Alright. You're 2 mana away from Citadel. This cower. Our deck is naturally pretty good against Tasha's, though, so that's kind of just like a bunch of expensive cards. And I guess we did benefit a little bit from them boarding us boarding out the creatures, because Crypt Incursion is way less effective against this now. I guess I can play another Leyline. Maybe it's better to empty. Start the clock. Max punished. Max punished. Okay. We can still win the game. We have the Angels, the consumption. Like, we're still in this. We do just need to draw mana, though. That's a big thing. Need 2 lands off the top. They're forced to mill themselves with crab. Okay. Now we can attack for essentially 1, because they're going to block with the Hedron Crab. So it's a very slow, but technically this could win the game, assuming that nothing else happens. Yep. Draw a land. Love it. You're now 1 mana away. Leyline. Ugh. The reason to play out Leyline there is that the Leyline is another permanent that you can theoretically sacrifice to Bolas' Citadel. It does matter. Alright, well now they have 2 blockers for goblins. Not ideal. Draw. It's a mana in like a million turns. Pass. So theoretically, though, we could set it up so that we can, when that unsuspends, that will give us enough mana, I believe, to Bushclaw for Thoughtseize first, I believe. So they're going to mill themselves for 6 here. Looks like Leyline's just like particularly effective against their build. Is Rune Crab target? Each opponent, so Rune Crab is better. Draw. They've used 2 drowns. I think I might just jam Citadel. Let's hope that I'm lucky and that this resolves. If it doesn't, we have Wishclaw for the other. Mystical Dispute. Ugh. That's brutal. Oh my, getting punished every time I can this game. Alright, so now we're on the like hard cast Angels plan, I think. Jeez. Alright. So that costs 7. So if I want a Wishclaw for a call, it's gonna be 8 mana. Opponent has 5 cards in hand, but I'd be willing to bet that some of them are lands at this point because they don't want to play lands because then they target themselves. Draw. I mean, that's not very good, but I can play it. We do have 8 mana if I wanted to try to cast one of the calls. But part of me's wondering if I should wait for a Thoughtseize. Still have 3 copies of Thoughtseize in our deck. But also, we saw that they boarded in Mystical Dispute. So they also boarded in Echoing Truth. So they could have, theoretically, if I use Wishclaw for a call, they could just, like, go get Echoing Truth with it. Another hideaway land. Okay, so they're milling 6. Just have to hope that if they have... Yep, they milled Echoing Truth. That's good. Okay. They can use what's underneath the Shelldock Isle now because they're under 20 cards. Here it is. Okay. They've used... So they still have 2 Fractured Sanity left, which would deck us. So I don't think we can be on the deck them plan. And if I use Wishclaw, I'm giving them a tutor for one of the other Fractured. And I think I just have to pass. Yeah, I'm not feeling too good about this one. I have 8 cards to win the game. They still have 1 more Fractured Sanity. There it is. We are decked. My prediction was wrong. We are 0-2, but I think part of it might be my own fault this match. Sorry. Round number 3 coming right up. We are on the draw for the 3rd round. Maybe that will help us out, get that extra card. Maybe that's the little bit of push we needed. Who knows? But yeah, this hand doesn't have any acceleration. I think you're probably supposed to ship those hands. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we might just want all 12 suspend cards in this deck. Yeah. This seems fine. I don't think we need the tutor, so I think we can get rid of Wishclaw. Earlier I mentioned that maybe you want less Tanalites or less Soul Talisman, but maybe you just want all 12. Like, it's entirely possible. Because every hand you don't open with acceleration is like kind of bad. It looks like our opponent's just on the blue-red deck. That and ooh, I should have played. Sorry, in my mind I was like, yeah, they both come into play tapped, but I forgot about those lands coming into play untapped. Slipped my brain for a second. Okay. And blue-red once again, like I suspected. Facing the best deck in the format twice when we're on our brew is not ideal, if I'm being honest. Like, the deck we're facing is just insanely good. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if something was removed from it at some point, but that's not what this video is about. Turn 2 Murktide. Yep, we are gonna get smushed. Smushed, I say. I think I'm just gonna play champion here. See if I can buy some time. Yep. We don't want this to unsuspend this turn. Yep, okay. It was just a happy accident. So Soul Warden into Skyclave Cleric. Yes. Cleric. They might bolt the Soul Warden in response. No is apparently the answer. Auto yield. Sorry, I like auto yielding to these abilities. I know that like I do it on the suspends when I don't need to, but it makes me happy, so I'm going to do it. So if you don't like it, tough. I like auto yielding to abilities that I probably won't even need to again. Oh, Unholy Heat. Not very nice. Alright, so we would have gained a bunch of life next turn with the empty, but it's fine. So now we're going back to 14. Opponent still has 4 cards. Can I attempt to make 4 goblins here? Maybe I should attack first. See if they'll like play a removal spell or something. And empty the warrens for 2. Yeah, I think we just want all of those suspend Moxen. I think one of these might. There's the counter. Sweet. So now we're at we're going to go to 11. Really want another. We just want to keep drawing the soul guy or the soul sister creatures at this. Trying to stave off this Murktide. And now we're at 11. Could be dead very soon. Play a claw, then suspend profane here. Their counter. Oh, okay. I might be a little bit out of date on this, but the last time that I was really looking at modern decks, which was like 2 weeks ago, there's only 2 counter spells in the main. So either they've gone up on counter spell or opponent drew both. Channeler. Okay, so Channeler represents lethal if they play it on the following turn. So yeah, there it is. I imagine that they can get Delirium. Can't cast that, unfortunately. Just going to attack here. So a Mishra's Bauble would do it. Another creature to the graveyard would do it. So they're on an interesting build. This one has Archmage's Charm. This might not be interesting and I could just be out of date, but I don't remember seeing Charm in these lists. They're just digging for Delirium. So we're going to go to 2 here. We're dead to Lightning Bolt. Not a whole lot I can do about that. Okay. Need to get kind of lucky here. And I know I don't need to suspend or auto yield to that, but I like to. So deal with it. Our opponent has 2 cards. Our best draw here, so I'm going to get empty with this. And then our best draw would be another 1 mana Soul Sister effect. Third counter. Oh, okay, so their list definitely has a lot more than the average list. So maybe we'll get lucky and just draw empty here. There's only 2 in the deck. Ooh. Just game. Alright, so we're down a game again. My prediction just looks embarrassing now. So we probably want the fatal pushes. I didn't board those in the first round, but actually, they're like a super heavy counter list. I probably still want the grid. Question is, should I also be boarding in the pushes? What if I just take out the talismans and then board in like one of these back in? Let's try this out. Sure. Okay, so I guess one of my questions is like, what matters most in this matchup? And I think I actually don't want to suspend. I want to start off on just like doing the Soul Sisters thing. Because like one, gaining life is good against this deck, but also like they have Ragavan, and if I start on the suspend plan and then they just play turn 1 Ragavan, it throws me off where right now I don't even have a red source for empty right now anyway. So maybe by the time I start suspending, I'll have drawn a red source. Okay. They've used their bobble. Auto deal to that. Draw. Okay, I'm going to do like a 50-50 plan. I'm going to play this. And then suspend. And then next turn I can suspend the tutor. Oh, I should have attacked. That was a dumb move. They were never going to block. Okay. Draw. They're holding open mana, so I'm not going to play the grid. I'm just going to suspend. Ugh. Okay. Ah. Boo. So they got a free removal spell there out of their Thought Scour. Get wrecked. Being me. Yep. That was just bad. I tried to overcompensate for missing the attack in the previous turn and ultimately just got... Wow. Yeah, this isn't looking very good. Even if I didn't mess up that attack. I also wonder if like 2 Citadel is enough. Because like you pretty much always want it. I think this deck does have a lot of potential. I've definitely misplayed a bunch of this league. But I think you want to lean more into the Citadel stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like 2 might not be enough. Like 3 might be a good number. I don't think you want all 4, but I think maybe you want 3. I think you definitely want all of the jewels for suspending into empty, or just like excuse me, accelerating into Citadel. Yikes! So they just have lethal next turn too. Okay. Even if I were to get empty here, it just doesn't matter. I guess if I draw an untapped black source, I could cast Citadel and get extremely lucky in order to win. Bad. Yeah. All right. Go 3. Oh no. I realized that I accidentally didn't click the start of this game. I am so sorry. We are going into game 2 against Tron. I thought I clicked record. Apparently, I missed it at the start of the round. We mulliganed to 5 against Tron and kept a bunch of mana and then never drew any action. I am so sorry. Our record is updated to 0-3. We're down a game. I feel so bad about this. Sorry, Andre. Uh, we're on the play against Tron in game 2. And these soul talismans, actually, they're fine because we have the call. Uh, so I think we shock, suspend, suspend. Like, this is a turn 4 Citadel. And, like, these are the sort of hands that this deck is good with, which is why I think that we want all 12 pieces of acceleration instead of just 10. Because when you don't open hands like this, your deck is just too slow. Right, suspend, suspend. Okay. I feel so bad about missing game 1, but honestly, it wasn't very exciting. Like, I literally just mulled a 5 and died to Karn and Worm. Okay, auto yield to these. So many autos, so many. Might as well play out this land and suspend this other talisman. Okay. I would like them to not get Tron if possible. Uh, okay, that's a good sign. Good sign. No Sylvan Scrying. Forest. Hey. Alright, so what I was going to say is I don't want Karn the Great Creator to happen before these unsuspend. And this play makes sure that's the case. So now we draw. Next turn, they all unsuspend. And I'd rather have the mana in play than 2 life. Okay, and they will have Tron next turn. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's a little bit weird that this deck doesn't have Prismatic Ending in the board. Instead, it has Vindicate and Push. This should definitely be a Prismatic Ending deck, because how people would look to beat this deck is by playing Chalice 0. So those pushes and Vindicates need to be Prismatic Endings. Like, it didn't happen to me, no one's played a Chalice yet, but those should really be. Ending is also 1 mana for Citadel, so it just makes perfect sense. Draw. So Talisman. Activate Talisman. Go get Bolas's Citadel. Citadel. Okay. This is really the first time we're getting to do our thing this league with Citadel. Alright, this is going to be painful. Okay. Always yes. Auto yield. Yeah, don't concede. I would like to do my thing. Come on. Champion. Pendant. Always yes. Auto yield. And return. And then we hit another land. So I'm going to add red here and go get Goblin Bombardment and hope that we hit a string of good spells. Alright, so let's go get Goblin Bombardment. Okay. So not quite what I want here, but not the worst. Gain some life. Let's move that. Do I gain enough life off this to cast another call? I don't know. So it costs 8, so I'm going to go to 1. Alright. This is so funny. I love it. Okay, Cleric. And now we hit a Mox. That's a good one. I definitely like the Mox because that will allow us to empty. Well, I guess it won't allow us. It gets us closer to empty plus bombardment. I have to imagine our opponent's going like, what is happening right now? Ah, another land. That's no good. Um, I'm 1 mana short of empty. That's a bummer. They're at 12. We have 5 creatures, 10 creatures. Storm at 19. So close. Our creatures are indestructible, but Ugin the Spirit Dragon does not care about that. What is this? Karn the Great Creator. That's fine. Maybe they have like an ensnaring bridge here. Yep. So they're going to play bridge. And I mean, I think that we could probably just like keep casting creatures from our deck next turn. I'm not too worried about that. And eventually kill them with Goblin Bombardment. Yeah. Alright. Our opponent saw the writing on the wall. Okay. Just gonna resubmit this. And once again, Andre, I am so sorry for missing the game one this round. But you got to see the explosive one. It happened. So glad that could come to life. This seems fine. There's no acceleration here, but I still think it's a keep. Just like double Thoughtseize versus Tron's pretty good. Okay, tower. We do not have a basic swamp, so there's no point in fetching. Get rid of that Karn. You can come back for the Spirit Dragon. There's another Thoughtseize. Karn or Ugin? Both pretty bad for us, but Karn comes down a turn earlier, so we're going to take that. And let's play Solzadin. Yeah, and I think this is just another one of those examples of us not opening up on acceleration and the deck being a little bit too slow. So, Andre, if you're going to continue to work on this deck, I would recommend all 12 suspend artifacts. I think that those are pretty crucial. Maybe a third copy of Bolas' Citadel, and then maybe a Sacred Foundry to fetch for an untapped red. Those are my big things at the moment. There's no point in playing out Wishclaw because it's just going to get eaten by Ugin's -2, so I think I'm just going to attack here. Maybe we can eventually just build the 6 mana and Citadel them. Did I see that wrong? I thought they just had Tron already. Apparently, I need glasses. I mean, I have contacts in, but I can't read. Done this. And let's play the Talisman. Yeah. They didn't bother to add a counter to Blast Zone. Are they passing? Okay. So in 2 turns, we'll be able to cast Citadel. Continue to get in there. Yeah. But I did put myself to 13 with Thoughtseizes and Fetches, so it's not like our life total is super high at the moment. Boo! Boo! No one likes you, Karn. No one. I don't even think your parents like you. Someone in the comment section told me that your mom's Joyra, that she liked you, but your dad, some other character, didn't. I don't even believe that. No one likes Karn. Theoretically, this could have been a matchup where I boarded in Vindicate. I didn't end up doing it, but maybe I should have. I can't remember if this was in the game that was clipped out, but the pushes in Vindicate should have been prismatic endings, because a lot of people are going to try to beat this deck by playing Chalice Zero, and prismatic ending just answers that so cleanly. So I would definitely lose Fatal Push and Vindicate for just 4 copies of prismatic ending, which also can hit those 1-drops out of the red decks. 8 pieces like Chalice. It's just so versatile. I wouldn't be caught dead running Vindicate or Push at them. Okay. Next turn, those will unsuspend. Interesting. I'm going to empty now. And it's not great, but theoretically I could kill Karn next turn. That would be helpful. And if they really want to keep Karn alive, what they could do is plus Karn and then blow up Blast Zone. It looks like they're just going big here, looking for the last Tron piece. Oh, built. So it looks like we're going to get to attack Karn to death, just like Karn deserves. No! Alright. We didn't get to do that. Chronosphere, that's annoying. Yeah. That's really annoying. We'll pay for the talisman. And then pay for 2. Okay. I wonder what we're supposed to do, because we know that there is an Oblivion Stone. I'm just not sure about what to do here. Not like I can even cast Thoughtseize up there. So they can play the O-Stone before I can even Thoughtseize. But maybe the plan is to just double Citadel and get them to blow up the O-Stone, which would then, in theory, unlock us to Trinisphere. Okay, so now they're going to have Tron. And instead of playing O-Stone, they can just Ugin. So we're dead. Okay. It doesn't matter. And I can't play this due to Trinity. And now our opponent plays Ugin, and I cry myself. Interesting, they chose to play O-Stone over Ugin. So you're saying there's a chance. Do it, you coward. Yes! Alright, so now I can play Citadel next turn. I don't know why they would do that. You had an Ugin. Right? Citadel, you're the only one that's left. I need you to do some damage here. Full control. I don't think it matters. I think we just remove a land from the deck, to be honest. We just want to draw like running spells. Thoughtseize. This can hit Ugin. Ulamog. Alright, they just have like a bunch of stuff. I guess we take the Ulamog. I don't know. Ox. I'm sorry, it's a talisman. So I don't have another land. It's such a heartbreaker. In my mind, I was like, and then I can cast Wishclaw, which gives me another shuffle effect, but we didn't have another black land. Yeah, this deck plays like a criminal low amount of actual fetchables. Yeah, we just lose now. I almost think that like maybe you shouldn't just play fetch. It's come out twice this league where we haven't had enough lands to fetch for. Uh, Here's Karn, and then the Sanctum of Ugin trigger. Picked up a Golos. Okay. Andre, I hope you're okay with me conceding this game. They've hit both of our Citadels, and they have all this stuff, so I'm sorry. We're lucky if we get the inverse record that I mentioned. We are now 0-4. The fifth and final match, and we are on the play. All right, so we technically have an accelerant and a bunch of creatures. Maybe this is... All right, so we're going to start off on playing the Cleric as a land, and then suspending. Okay. Delta. The leagues are all blue-red. Blue-red in every format. Legacy, Modern, sometimes Vintage right now. It's crazy. Right? Not really what we needed, but maybe we can stop the Ragavan from... Here comes a removal spell. Oh, am I wrong? They wanted... Okay, so that makes sense, because now when they play the removal spell, they get to scry. Yep. Or not scry, but surveil. Yeah. Try another one. Okay, so they're willing to trade. I think that's fine. I'm going to fall to 16 here from the Dragon Rage Channeler. Too expressive iteration. Okay, and they get to play the Bauble for free. Alright, so the Mox should be unsuspending this turn. Not that it matters. I think we're probably too far behind at this point. We really needed more acceleration. So, like, this deck's been a little bit awkward. There's games where we just don't draw acceleration, and then there's games where we draw a ton of acceleration but no payoffs. So I think it's definitely lacking some consistency. And having 8 tutors, you know, out of what this color combination offers, 8 tutors is decent, but I think like we just need more action overall. Not sure. Okay. So now we're gonna fall to 13. And in between rounds, I did look up the blue-red lists. They're all playing like 3 or 4 counter spells now with a couple Archmage's Charms and a Spell Pierce. So what we've seen so far is actually pretty stock. I wouldn't say that it's like unconventional or anything like that. Champion. Always yes. What is this? Can I counterspell a Soul Warden? Come on, you're better than that. Then get in there. Okay, and now we're attacking with the champion and then passing the turn. Okay, and it looks like the opponent has something here. Power, sure. I wonder if we're seeing more of the blue-red deck today, by the way, because we're in the middle of the token season where players have access to all cards. But part of me wonders if that's why we're seeing just like everyone playing the most expensive deck in the format. Um, Maybe I don't know if that actually has anything to do with it, but for $20 right now, you get access to everything on Magic Online, which isn't so. That could be certainly part of it. Iteration, Bolt. Okay, so our Soul Worm could die here. Yep. Need to get pretty lucky in order to win this, I think. And then, yes. And Pro Red, so let's get in there. Our opponent's been holding open counterspell every turn too. So we would need to get them on a turn where they tapped out and we drew an untapped black source to jam this Citadel. Iteration. Okay. Our opponent's over halfway through their deck already, which is just kind of wild. Like the amount of cards that this deck just gets to see. Holy Heat killing our attendant. A Murktide here. We're going to 9. And Murktide. Yep. The big dragon. Champion. Up to 13, which still isn't enough life to stay alive here. So we're going to just pass and then die to their attack. And that's going to do it for game number 1 in match number 5. I don't even know anymore. Let's board in the pushes. Part of me feels like this plan just like isn't good enough against them, so I'm gonna just board those out. But like I think we just need to like try to be a combo deck in order to beat them. Like don't try to outvalue them with Soul Sister stuff. Like just keep all your combo stuff in, and just try to empty them for lethal. Okay. You're on the play once again. This is definitely not a keep. Sure. I don't know. Right. Probably want both colors, so I think we just have to shock here. Okay, draw. Land is good. Let's try to sneak this defense grid in. You have the random spell pierce. There's one spell pierce in the 75, so we are pretty likely to resolve it there. All right, next turn, Talisman on suspend. We're going to play a different Talisman this turn. Bolt, okay. Ouch. They're just going face. The Citadel might not matter. We're going to be at 8. Yeah, they're just going to outrace our Citadel. Because this Lotus Bloom still has 2 more turns after this one. Yeah, let's cast it. Okay. We are not in a good spot right now. Fully aggro Batman. Jace, I don't know if I've seen that before. Cursing at the Unsung. Okay. Not going to fetch. We just have to play the attendant again. We're so likely dead on our opponent's next turn. And so we go to 2 here. Snap Bolt. So they raised our Citadel. I'm just gonna concede and not click through that stuff. All right, so we went 0 and 5. That's pretty far away from what I expected. Uh, yeah. So I think we probably just want more Mox Tanalites. We want a third Citadel. I'm not sure what you cut in order to make room for these, but we definitely just need more acceleration because the deck, like the Soul Sisters plan, was not good enough. So maybe that's just the issue with this deck, is that Soul Sisters isn't good enough, especially against like Murktide Regent and stuff. So I think unfortunately, maybe this deck is just like, maybe not where you want to be. I still really like Citadel and Modern. I want to find a way to break it, but maybe the Soul Sisters core isn't what you should be doing. This was a brutal one, but hopefully you found some joy somewhere in it. Yeah, I hope you enjoy your day. Keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.